Hello everyone. I meant to do this recording last night, but I fell asleep. Figured I could do it in the morning. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Amax and Fennec, as I don't think that the Fennec is really worth it. Let's go and explain why. Okay, so the Fennec is in a very awkward position. Its time to kill is in between MP5 and MP7 for multiplayer. Now, these numbers can change if you're using the hollow point stuff, but I don't really think that that's going to be worth it in Warzone. And seeing as we're focusing on Warzone, let's just go ahead and focus on doing the automatic part. The time to kill could potentially change in Warzone, as we see with the AK-47 RAM. Look at how much this flip-flopped. The AK-47 is slower than the RAM 7 in multiplayer, but in Warzone, it's the complete opposite. The AK is faster than the RAM. So you can see that they change around the stats in such a way that it's really hard to predict. The Fennec could potentially flip-flop just like the AK-47 RAM, but let's just say that does happen and it happens to get a better time to kill in Warzone in comparison to some other SMGs. Your new problem is the range. The Fennec shares the same problem as the MP7 in that the base range is less than the MP5. MP5's base range is 12.5 meters. With a monolithic integral suppressor, it goes up to 14.06 meters. The MP7 can reach 14.06 meters if it's using its longest barrel and the monolithic suppressor, but that incurs a huge ADS penalty. The Fennec does get a long-range barrel that does count as a suppressor, so with that, it might reach 14.06. However, just like the monolithic integral suppressor for the MP5, it means no muzzle attachment. If the Fennec falls short of 14.06, there's no way to get that extra little percent in. So there's the issues with the Fennec. For that reason, I do think that the Amax is worth leveling. Now let's talk about the Amax. The Amax has the same upper torso damage as the AK, but it has a much higher RPM, giving it a faster time to kill. As a matter of fact, its multiplayer time to kill is the exact same as the MP7. That means the Amax is doing the same thing as an SMG, but with more range. We'll have to see where the time to kill falls once it's converted into Warzone. But overall, I think that this has a lot of potential. It has good range and a good time to kill. It won't replace the Grau, though, or the Kilo. I've noticed that people have been slowly moving over to the Kilo over the Grau. I anticipated this to happen a long time ago. As I've stated numerous times in my recordings, is that people, for the most part, in this community are a bunch of sheep. They will always follow what the major streamers or pros are doing. They are way too lazy in terms of reading this for themselves. If the vast majority of the Call of Duty community was reading the same things that I am, then they would have known these numbers and known that the Grau was not going to be as great as the Kilo. But anyways, so the Amax won't be replacing the Grau or Kilo because of the RPM difference. As I've stated before in prior recordings, slower RPM guns require precision. Faster RPM guns are more forgiving. While the Amax can replace the Grau and Kilo for a ranged AR, the problem is that RPM. There's not going to be as many people that can utilize it. So yeah, there's a lot of things here to consider, and we will also need to see more numbers, but that's where things stand for right now. I'm going to say Amax is going to be worth your time to level. I would not mess with the Fennec. I would like to address one thing before I end this recording. I've been deleting comments that people are saying I'm copying Ace. I am not copying Ace. If you take the time to read my Google documents and actually listen to my recordings, you'll see that yes, I do use some of his numbers and materials, but that's because Ace is a reputable tester. His results have proven to be more accurate than JGOD or some of the others that have been linked in the Call of Duty Discord. In addition to that, I would like to think that I give a perspective that's very balanced. I'm talking about all sides of it. I recognize that there's personal preference as well as the numbers. Another thing too is not only am I talking about both sides of the coin, I'm also talking about guns that Ace really hasn't touched on for Warzone. I have not seen him do a P90 Warzone video. I do think the P90 has potential as far as an SMG for Warzone due to its longer range. Um, I've also talked about the Dragunov and compared it to the HDR and AX50. That's because I do think that the Dragunov is better for people who aren't aiming for the head. I can give tons of examples, but please do not tell me that I'm copying Ace. If you just take the time to look at my Google documents, you'll see that I'm looking at the numbers as well as personal preference, like I was saying earlier. But that's all I have for now. Thanks for listening.